Podcast Network.
Hello, and welcome to Whining About Herstory, a podcast where two longtime gal pals swap stories about women in history that you may not have heard of and drink a lot of wine while doing it. I'm Kelley.
I'm Emily, and we are pairing some fine ladies with some fine-ass wine today.
Yeah, we are. To talk about the wine in the way that we do... That's gross. I don't know what that is. Sorry, some mysterious substance is currently on the back of my cell phone, and I don't... That's concerning.
Has your husband been using your cell phone?
No.
Okay.
So we are drinking Cupcake, or from the Cupcake Vineyards, rather, Sauvignon Blanc, a 2017. The description for this wine is as follows. This vibrant and complex burst with flavors of key lime, white nectarines, grapefruit, and gooseberry, leaving a well-balanced finish. It was $6.99 at Costco.
Oh yeah,
I can totally taste the grapefruit in it, but it's a very good wine.
Here's the funny thing: we opened the bottle and we smelled it because we were trying to pretend like we know about wine. And Kelley immediately was like, "I smell grapefruit." And I'm like, "I get that too." So hearing that's actually in the description, I'm like, "Oh my god, look at us whining!"
Yeah, we got something right. But it's
wine queens in training.
For a white, it's very dry, but it's very sweet. It's a good summer wine, which, you know, is on par with Minnesota currently having its second winter where it's April and it just fucking snowed again.
Yep, we had a pretty good fool's spring and now we're in second
we had
winter.
4 days, things were starting to bloom, and then it snowed.
Yep. Okay, here's the thing. It did not just fucking snow. It snowed, it iced, it rained, it was windy.
It was like a mini blizzard. Like, I think they were actually calling it a blizzard.
And then we had dust from Texas actually come up here, so all the snow is like tinted kind of pinkish brown.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
This is Minnesota. Our weather is so fucked up and it's insane. And
why
we
get Texas?
Why do we live here? I don't fucking know.
Because we were born here.
Well,
we didn't choose this.
My parents moved here, so I get to blame them for everything. Anyway, we're going to cheers to this sweet-ass wine. I'm drinking out of the Pug boat today because I'd rather be on a boat right now.
I'm drinking out of Pug Shot just because it's really cute.
It is really cute.
Its tongue sticking out, you know, getting its mug shot taken.
That pug is super excited about the person it just murdered.
Like, yeah!
What are we cheersing to today?
I don't know.
You know what? Let's cheers to the weekend. I've had a really good Saturday. I've been productive / taking care of myself mentally. And I think it's something worth cheersing to. And we get to record, so.
Heck yeah.
Cheers.
Self-care day.
Self-care day. Clink. I'm a big fan. I like this.
I am too. It is very strong like grapefruit, so if you don't like grapefruit, I probably wouldn't recommend it. But for anyone who is either neutral or likes grapefruit, pick it up. It's real good.
I also want to know what the Cupcake Vineyard looks like. Like, immediately I'm imagining a bunch of vineyards with, like, cupcakes growing off the vines.
It's a product of New Zealand.
Oh, crap, really?
So, yeah. It says, our vineyard works hard to bring you the zestiest, most refreshing Sauvignon Blanc from the cool Marlborough Valley. Here the grapes mature slowly, giving them complexity and a vibrant zing, reminiscent of the lemon chiffon cupcake. The aromas are integrated, delighting the senses with flavors of Meyer lemons, key limes, and a finish that awakens the appetite. Serve chilled with oysters on the half shell or with a rich, creamy lobster risotto.
Oh my god. I feel like we aren't fancy enough to drink this wine now.
I'm not big on like fish, so I probably wouldn't eat either of those things. Or
That's
seafood.
right. That's right. Kelley is single-handedly trying to take down Red Lobster.
Except for the biscuits. Although mine are better, so.
This is true.
Yeah, I'm single-handedly trying to take down the Red Lobster.
Yeah, she's going to open her own Red Lobster, and it's going to be called Kelley's Biscuits, and it's just going to be Red Lobster biscuits, but better.
Yeah.
Yes. The key is more butter. Always more butter. All the butter. So Kelley's going to start us off today, but before we get started, we are premiering our new segment called Say Their Name, where we're just basically giving props to other badass people in the world. And this week featured on Say Their Name. Special shout out to Gabriel Diaz. You can find them at Gabby Diaz Ortiz, GABYDIAZORTIZ. They are an amazing artist who is currently working on writing and illustrating a book about Artemisia Gentileschi, who we covered in, I think it was episode 4.
Something like that.
Whichever one starts off with who paints Michelangelo's ceiling, because it's Artemisia, bitches. It's fucking Artemisia. So the book will explore her life, works, and legacy. And I don't have a publication date yet because it's still a work in progress.
Yes, and she is hand doing it all. At least like the first copy. So it might be a little while, but definitely follow her and, keep updated.
She's got some incredible illustrations.
Yeah, it's going to be badass.
I love her shit. So anyway, you can check her on Instagram and we'll keep you updated on when that book premieres.
Woohoo.
So that's our Say Their Name for the week.
Yay.
All right, so now Kelley can jump into her badass babe.
I can jump into my badass babe. All right, today I am doing Paulina Luisi, which is a super pronounceable name, and I'm really happy about it. But it's from Uruguay, so I was like, I'm surprised this is super pronounceable. No offense, Uruguay, but I know there's a language difference.
We struggle with pronunciations, and we really try our best because here's the thing: if we can figure out Dostoevsky and Tchaikovsky, we should be able to figure out these women's names, but Kelley and I,
we struggle.
We're doing our best.
And I'm just going to start doing this before each of my things. I'm going to apologize in advance if I screw names up instead of apologizing when I do it. So I'm just going to rock through this, and I'm sorry if I screw up.
Let's be honest, you're totally going to apologize as you pronounce a name syllables by syllable. Because I do the same thing.
So I'm going to give an overview, and then I'll get into the, nitty-gritty details. So Paulina Luisi was the leader of the feminist movement in the country of Uruguay. In 1909, she became the first Uruguayan woman to earn a medical degree. She was highly respected, and she represented Uruguay in international women's conferences and traveled throughout Europe. She voiced her opinions on women's rights, and in 1919, Paulina started a Force for Women's Right in Uruguay. By 1922, the Pan American Conference of Women named Paulina Luisi an honorary vice president of the meeting, and she continued to be an activist until Uruguay women were given the right to vote. So that's the overview.
I think this is the first woman we've covered who is specifically fighting for women's rights. I mean, onna-bugeisha fought for women's rights.
I think we had some women that were like, oh, she did something else and she fought for women's rights. But this is, she did something, but then she primarily fought for women's rights.
Okay, I'm really excited.
Yeah, it sounds pretty sweet. Paulina was born in Argentina in 1875. Her mother was Maria Teresa Josefina Janicki, and she was of Polish descent. And her father...
Oh, Poland!
Yeah.
I'm 50% Polish.
And her father, Angel Luisi, was believed to have come from an Italian ancestry. She was the eldest of 8 children, 7 of whom were girls. She was not the only Luisi sister to break new ground for Uruguayan women. Her sister, Clotilde, became the first female lawyer in the country in 1911, while Inés became a physician and Luisa became a well-known poet. So she's not the only woman in her family. She just, seems to be the most famous.
Do you think that family reunions, they just get together and have pissing contests? Well, I just published an anthology of my poetry and I was honored by the government. Well, I just won a very significant groundbreaking case that sets the precedent for women's rights for the next 10 years.
They're probably all just
they're all just whipping out their dicks and oh, look what I've done in the past year. I'm so fancy. And here's the thing, we need more women like that. I'm not bashing them. I'm just saying that's a lot of pressure.
Oh, yeah. So in one of my articles, it was said Paulina was first and foremost a product of the academy, representative of a new generation of university-trained professional women with a strong commitment to feminist ideals in Uruguay. She grew up in a time where a lot of things were happening for women. In 1879, when Paulina was 4, Luisa Dominguez became the first woman to request an entrance exam for the University of the Republic. She passed with flying colors and provoked praise and ridicule from different politicians. When she was 7, Jose Pedro Varela's normal school for girls opened. And 5 years later is when they moved to Montevideo in Uruguay. There's all this other stuff going on in women's rights, and she's growing up, her parents are very proactive, and, so she grew up in this culture where more things are happening for women.
It's really volatile.
Yeah.
Is a normal school is for teachers, right? It's a school for teachers?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I did not look into it.
Our university started off as a normal school, and that was always my understanding. I
might have to look that up. Maybe
I'm asking questions that are not productive.
We'll put it in the blog. I'll look it up.
I'm not being productive. I'm just asking random questions.
Right? Thanks. Thank you.
I'm putting you on the spot. What do you mean you didn't look up what a normal school is? That's so important.
Right? So Paulina received her bachelor's degree in 1899 and was the first woman to do so. She then applied for medical school, which she got in, and she was the only woman in her class. And she became the first female physician and surgeon that graduated from the medical school of the Universidad de la República, which is now the University of Uruguay.
Do you think that she had to pay more money to take classes
by herself?
I don't
know. It didn't say anything about that.
Shout out to episode 2 in our medical mavens, the Edinburgh 7.
Right. No, that bullshit.
Oh my God.
So Dr. Christine Eckrich, who is, she does a lot of studying of feminists and stuff like from the past. She's an associate professor at the University of Louisville, says this, quote, draw Paulina Luisi, which I don't know if draw is like I tried to look it up, but Google just was like, no, DRA stands for something else, like the Democratic Republic of something.
Oh,
so I think
draw
draw
is an acronym. I was
DRA
like,
period.
No,
so I'm wondering if that's maybe,
no,
I'm wondering if that's maybe like putting doctor.
Yeah.
So the quote is, draw Paulina Luisi was a pioneering Uruguayan maybe she was a physicist. No, it says physician, but this says physicist. This quote is wrong.
Do you think DRA is like female doctor? Because like doctora.
Yeah, I suppose because they add the A to...
Am I making up language?
No, you're not. Okay, so we're going to change this quote because I'm sure it didn't mean physicist. So it was a pioneering Uruguayan physician and feminist. Born in Argentina but raised in Uruguay, Paulina was the eldest child of European immigrants. After becoming the first woman in Uruguay to earn the equivalent of a bachelor's degree, Paulina became the first woman to enroll in complete medical school. This is a long quote, but I wanted to include all of it. As the first female medical student, Paulina faced a lot of harassments from her classmates. One day, Luisa found a severed human penis in the pocket of her lab coat.
What the fuck?
Luisi reportedly waited until after class was over when she held up the offending member and asked all of her male classmates, did one of you lose this?
What the fuck? Oh my God.
I love that she was like, fuck you. Like, which one of you's the, like, prick that didn't have the balls, like...
To come at me yourself. Right? You had to leave.
That's why I wanted the whole quote.
Dismembered penis. That is fucking horrifying. Where did they get the penis?
Well, I mean, they're in a medical school, so probably off of one of the cadavers.
Okay, everyone line up your cadavers. Which one's missing a penis?
That guy's an asshole.
Oh my fucking God. I can't believe she was so sassy about it.
Right?
I would have vomited.
Right.
I'd be like, this is like, I report this to the police. They don't believe me. And then I get murdered. This is how this happens. What the fuck? That's so fucking violent.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, kind of.
I mean, you're dismembering, assuming they got the penis from a
cadaver.
But
I love that she's like, so whose is this? Like
which one of you dickless fuckers left this
yeah,
in my shit?
I love that.
Oh my God. No, that's incredible. I'm just really hung up on the severed penis.
I know you are.
I'm like, really.
That's why that quote needed to be in my story.
I'm really concerned.
So not only was she a physician, but she also became a teacher and the primary editor of a magazine called Acción Femenina. And she held various positions throughout her career and achieved more than any woman in her country. So that's cool. The teacher part was really just like, meh.
I was going to say,
super skipped over.
After you talk about a severed penis, oh, by the way, she was also a teacher. Like, okay, cool. What about the severed penis?
We're done with the severed penis, Emily.
Oh my God. I don't think I'm ever going to be done with that. What the fuck? No, that's so crazy. Am I just overreacting? Like, if I found a severed penis in my bag, I would probably
panic.
I would freak the fuck out. And she's just like, so by the way, everyone, holding it up.
That's funny.
Oh my God. I love her. Can she
she's
be
great.
my new grandma?
So Paulina's feminist ideas were primarily built upon other movements that were occurring around the time. So when she was still a student, Argentine liberal feminist Patrona Alil wrote to Paulina as the president of the Universitas Argentina, which is the Argentine Association of University Women. So that's pretty cool. And she recruited her to join this association. In a letter dated 1st of May, I'll encouraged Luisi and her female colleagues. See, I'm using the last name because I forgot to transpose my notes this time.
Well, it's in the quote.
Yeah.
You can't just be like,
That's
brackets, true. Paulina, unbrackets, continue.
So encouraged her and her female colleagues in the university to form a Uruguayan branch of this association, stating that although there aren't many of you now, you will always be the nucleus around which others will come together. So basically, these are like women's associations of women going to college. And she's like, hey, you're the first women. Women are coming after you. You should start this branch in Uruguay. And we can be like partners in Uruguay and Argentina.
Empowered women empower women.
Exactly.
Every fucking time.
So it appears that Paulina and others, the other women that were now in this college, accepted the invitation and joined with their Argentine counterparts in 1907. Important to Paulina was the insertion into the Pan-American liberal feminist networks and in her propulsion to the leadership of the still germinating Uruguayan liberal feminism. So what vaulted her into that was her participation in the Women's Congress, held in 1910 in Buenos Aires. There she became acquainted with prominent Argentine feminists, such as Alicia Moreau de Justo and Cecilia Gerson.
Special props if you know who those are, because I've never heard of those women.
So this was conference, this Women's Congress, was organized by the universities, and it brought together more than 200 women representing Argentina, Uruguay, Peru, Paraguay, and Chile. So like most of the South American countries.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I mean, they called it the Women's Congress. So that's, they're like, no, let's get all these branches of these university women together and like network.
Well, and we need to support our whole continent.
Exactly.
And make sure everyone in our neighboring countries, all of those women have the support and the opportunities to follow in our footsteps. Because it shouldn't be this hard.
No. And it seems likely that at this conference is when Paulina, combining first name and last name.
We're getting Italian here.
First came into contact with many leaders, or the soon-to-be leaders, of the liberal feminism movement, which was also happening in South America at the time. And this is where she would also establish her contacts and friendships that would endure, for decades to come as these women struggled together for their separate countries.
I love how organized they are. So in our last episode, we were talking about how Elizabeth Jennings Graham's mother was a part of an association that basically was helping to empower the Black community through, education and community activity, and how important it was to strengthen your own community to stand up against this racial or patriarchal or whatever bullshit. And I love that that's what's happening on such a massive scale, because they're going from country to country, getting together and being like, hey, we've broken down these barriers. Let's make it easier for every single woman after us to do this.
Like, let's get together. Let's, be a force to contend with.
Exactly. That's incredible. I love that.
Yeah. And then, so Paulina, after that, started taking trips to Europe, to kind of see how their feminist movement was going. And that brought her into contact with women such as Avril St. Croix, who's the president of the Morale Unity Committee of on the International Council of Women, and Jules Siegfried, the president of the French National Council of Women. So, she went to all these other countries. She made all these contacts with women in power in their feminist circles to see what, how that could help. So in 1916, Paulina finally founded and led the Uruguayan branch of the National Women's Council. So she, made her own council, which is good. And then in late 1932, Uruguay became only the second Latin American country to grant women the full voting rights. So, all her stuff was not in vain. Like, they accomplished something. It took 16 years, but they did it.
Progress is slow, but inevitable.
Yep.
Painfully slow, but inevitable.
Inevitable. At the time that the full voting rights were granted, Paulina was in Europe serving as a diplomatic representative, but she resigned to return to Uruguay to fight totalitarianism at home and abroad.
You know, guys, everything in Europe is really cool, but I'm going to go fight totalitarianism back home. So catch you guys on the flip side.
Right. So a quote that she published about the definition of feminism in her magazine Acción Femenina says, quote, demonstrating that woman is something more than material created to serve and obey man like a slave, that she is more than a machine to produce children and care for the home, that women have feelings and intellect, that their mission to perpetuate the species, and this must be done with more than the entrails and the breast. It must be done with the mind and a heart prepared to be a mother and an educator, that she must be a man's partner and counselor, not his slave.
You know, that's such a powerful quote, but at the same time, I'm like, duh? Like,
right?
Why do we need to say this?
But especially, I mean, that was 1917, so...
Okay. This is true.
I feel like
that.
there's still people today that, like, would read this, you know, and be like, oh, yeah, like, that should be a thing.
More than the entrails and the breast.
Oh, I love that.
I love that. That's so vivid. Just like that cadaver was more than a severed penis.
Oh, that's funny.
I can't let it go.
All right, so some of her achievements and involvement. So I was wrong. They do come back to the teaching. I guess I just stuck it in another section.
You know what? Everything after severed penis was just kind of like, wait, okay,
Emily
whatever.
just wasn't paying attention after that.
I was not.
So her achievements and involvements include she worked as a teacher at the Teachers Training College for Women. So she worked as a teacher teaching other women to be teachers.
She was a teacher teaching teachers to teach.
Yeah.
Say that 5 times fast.
Right. And she was an advocate reaching out for social hygiene related to the teaching profession. Her lectures and arguments were specifically designed to introduce prophylaxis as a subject within the teaching training syllabus.
Social hygiene.
Yep.
What is social hygiene? Is that just like washing your hands?
I think so.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess this is the early 1900s. Maybe it's like washing your hands is optional.
Because prophylaxis is preventative medicine.
Oh.
So I think it's, you know, stuff to do with that. And
okay.
Then it goes on to say a controversial aspect of Paulina's moral reform platform was obligatory sex health education programs in the public school system. And she suggested having these programs first introduced in primary school and then continuing on to the secondary level. She defined sex education as the pedagogic tool to teach the individual to subject sexual drives to the will of an instructed, conscientious, and responsible intellect.
So she was an advocate for sex ed.
Yeah, she's like, let's teach these people to, like, instead of just have these, you know, needs, which we know everyone's going to have, let's teach them to understand it and be like, no, I'm in control of this.
Well, and to be responsible about it, too. I mean, I'm 28. I still have questions. I still don't know how my fucking body works. I wish I'd pay more attention in sex ed, but sex ed was a given. I got it in middle school and high school, and that was not always the case. And I think it's easy for us to forget that no one gets to learn, not everyone gets to learn how to put a banana on a condom. No, a condom on a banana. I'm so sorry.
I mean, really, it works either way.
I mean, it's easier to put the banana on the condom, but it's less useful.
Right? So it also says classes in sex education would emphasize the need for willpower and self-discipline, regular moderate exercise to burn up sexual energy, and the desirability of avoiding sexually stimulating entertainments.
So it was kind of about
a little bit of everything.
Avoiding getting horny? Like controlling your sexual desires.
Yeah, it was like helping with it.
Oh, so, you know, seeing a woman's ankles wouldn't spur you to rape them.
Right.
Okay, cool.
And as opposed to sex education, health education classes would then more focus on the scientific aspects of reproduction. You know, such as how species reproduce, natural history, anatomy, personal hygiene, and the prevention of venereal diseases. So she very much wanted to separate the two and be like, no, we should have sex ed classes and we should have health classes. One should be scientifically based and the other one should be like, hey, we know you're having these urges. Let's teach you to deal with them.
I actually really love that.
I know.
Because, like, I remember diagramming diagramming the female anatomy.
I really want
I also
to know what
remember
diagramming is.
it's you just grab the diagram and grope it, and it's really uncomfortable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a really unhealthy way to deal with your sexual urges. No. But I remember like writing out the different parts of like the female anatomy, the male anatomy, but then I felt like a lot of my sexual education was lacking the practical parts. Like, hey, tell me about my period. And like, don't just tell me why it happens, but like how to deal with it.
Like,
or like, you know, I actually had a health teacher, and she was really cool, and she was pretty blunt and, you know, forthcoming with things. And I remember one time she said, hey guys, if you wake up with a boner, that's called morning wood, and it's totally normal. Right. Don't worry about it. It doesn't mean you're a deviant.
I think that's a thing that needs to be expressed, that it's like, these things happen. People have these urges. It's natural. Here's some ways to deal with it.
Yeah. Or sometimes, hey man, if you get a random woody, that doesn't mean you want to fuck that person or that light pole or wherever the fuck you were looking at. It's okay.
You're 13. Your hormones are going crazy. You're fine.
Yeah, your dick's just doing whatever the hell it wants, but you are in control.
So due to these suggestions, Paulina was called an anarchist and a revolutionary by differing schools of thought. She was also accused of wanting to teach students how to become prostitutes.
Because knowing how your sexual anatomy works and understanding that sexual urges are normal is exactly how you get into sex work.
However,
and there's nothing wrong with sex work.
No.
But this isn't like...
What? On an up note, in 1944, her suggestions about sex health education were finally incorporated into the Uruguayan public school system.
Woo woo!
So that's pretty awesome.
You go, girl.
Need to scroll down.
Kelly's working on a laptop tonight.
I'm so excited. I usually use my phone, and I'm like, it's like 2 inches from my face, and I'm like, so
let me just scroll with my thumb here and squint a lot.
Right. Paulina is also known for writing several papers addressed to students as well as the general public. These were included in magazines, brochures, and even Congress's acts. These articles dealt with prophylaxis of contagious diseases, which we kind of touched on, hygiene and human growth, eugenics, open-air schools, improvement of hereditary qualities, social diseases, white slave trade and regulations, a social disgrace, regulations on prostitution, fight against venereal diseases, women and mothers' rights, and her articles even went so far as to reach America, and because many of them dealt with issues involving women's liberation, so like a lot of those papers ended up coming here eventually, I'm assuming translated.
Nice.
Although I will say a lot of the research on her, the ones I ended up using, a lot of it were like scholarly articles.
So super dense.
Yeah, which was fun. And there was only a few of them, because all the rest of them were in Spanish, and I don't trust Google Translate well enough to translate like a full document like that.
Right. No one should trust Google Translate. Google Translate,
like maybe if you're
the
translating like a sentence.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't want to like, so I'm kind of picking and choosing. So I'm sure there's a lot more about her out there, but it's in Spanish and I can't read it.
Hey, if you know Spanish and you want to educate us, please email us at whiningaboutherstory@gmail.com.
Read a really dense like book. That'd be cool. So she was fondly appreciative toward poetry and drama. She founded the Consejo Nacional de Mujeres, which is the National Women's Council, like we talked about. She also formed the Alianza de Mujeres para los Derechos Femeninos, which is
gotta say, you are tackling the Spanish like a fucking boss, and I appreciate you.
Years, which is the Women's Alliance for Women's Rights, and the Uruguayan and Argentinian branches of the International Abolition Federation. So she also branched into abolition, which is kind of cool. The two first feminine trade unions that ever existed in Uruguay, the Union de Telefonistas, which is the telephone operators union, and the Costureras de Sasterias, which is the seamstresses from tailor shops, were created by Paulina. So she created some unions, and they ended up being a huge benefit for the members and like got them the more benefits they deserved.
Right, because when workers organize, workers benefit versus the corporations.
Right. So then she was the secretary of the Abolitionist Committee on the River Plate, and she made a significant contribution to reform the depositions regulating prostitution in Buenos Aires. She not only organized and chaired the University Women Association, but in her later years, although she retired from active life, she kept conscious of and attentive in social developments. And at 65 years of age, Paulina died in Montevideo. Aww. The Medicine School of Montevideo named one of the library pavilions of the faculty after her.
I mean, they fucking better have.
And it was also said, I have two quotes, basically. They're both by, actually, I don't know who the first one's by. But the first quote is, quote, "When Uruguayan women won the right to vote, a congratulatory message issued via Radio Madrid was one of Paulina's first forays into the transformative medium of radio. The earliest surviving Paulina radio script we have from Uruguay, in fact, was delivered on Radio Femenina in 1936. By the early 1940s, Paulina had become the female voice of the Socialist Party, and using the on-air name Abuela, which means grandmother.
Oh my God, she is my new grandma.
Had developed something of a following among Uruguayan listeners. She was the female voice in an otherwise patriarchal soundscape of medicine, politics, and radio. A voice that in both medium and message spoke in favor of women's legal and political rights and in favor of the women's right to speak." So, although apparently none of the rest of this mentioned her radio career, it sounds like she had a pretty good radio career of talking to women on a feminine radio station.
You know what's crazy about all of this is like, okay, so she's a doctor and she obviously addresses health issues,
right?
But she's helping the seamstresses and did you say the telegraphers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It said telecommunications.
Okay, the women in telecommunications.
Well, and she's prostitutes and
sex workers.
Yeah. It said prostitutes.
Okay, the quote said prostitutes. We say sex workers.
So the last quote I have was written by Asuncion Levrin, and he's writing about Paulina. And it says, quote, "Luisi's professional career is almost a stereotype of the intense and passionate activity that developed within the first professional generation in Latin America." So they're saying, like, this passion and drive that she had was, you know, instrumental in this next generation of professional people in Latin America.
You know what? I mean, this is all just incredible. She had such a wide range. Like, she's like, I want to support all women in all areas. She put in the work. She made it easier for every single person after her. And like, we still need this. We still need people like this who are making it easier for the next generation.
So my closing statement was, she exemplifies like no other Uruguayan woman the complex relationships between education and professionalism, party politics, the state, and feminism in the Ballista era, which that was just that era of time in Uruguay.
Okay.
That's it.
That's really beautiful. Okay, well, I mean, super cheers to Paulina. Because she was a fucking rock star who got shit done.
Yeah, and in so many different ways, too.
All right. Now it is my turn, and I'm really anxious about this because this research was a lot more complex than I thought it would be.
That's why you were supposed to relax, why I did mine, drink your wine, get all loose.
Yeah, no, and I'm definitely loose. Not more confident, though, oddly enough. So, just really quick, the way I was going to do this story changed like 80 times during my research.
Sounds about right.
So, what I am covering today are the onna-bugeisha, which are Japanese female warriors. And originally I was like, oh, I'll just like cover the tradition and the training and just what it means to be an onna-bugeisha. But that is not the kind of resources I found. It was more like, oh, well, this is a famous onna-bugeisha. This is a famous onna-bugeisha. Oh, by the way, we don't know if she actually fucking existed.
I think it's interesting that they're still called geishas. Like, because when I think of a
geisha.
What?
Bugeisha.
Oh.
It's one word.
It's one word?
Yeah.
So oni and then bugeisha?
Onna-bugeisha. Oh. So I'm assuming geisha means it's a feminine term.
Yeah, it must be.
Yep. So what I did was I did a very brief overview and then I highlighted 3 famous onna-bugeisha, some of them legendary, last one definitely fucking existed though. So
two or maybes. One is like, yeah, she existed.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready for this.
There's
So
my
strap
disclaimer.
in and strap on.
Strap in, strap on. It's gonna get crazy. Also, a lot of Japanese pronunciations. I am doing my fucking best here, guys. I really am.
That should just be like the disclaimer of our show.
That's our tagline.
Please excuse our pronunciations.
Our tagline is whining about herstory. We're doing our best, you guys.
Pronunciations. We do our best, you guys.
Pronunciations are hard. I was like super into anime and stuff though growing up, so I'm a little more comfortable with Japanese pronunciations than I am
You
French.
got this.
I got this. I'm channeling the energy of all the powerful women that came before me into these pronunciations.
Do it.
Okay. So, the onna-bugeisha. Most of us are familiar with samurai, the fierce military nobility of medieval early modern Japan. However, the lesser-known onna-bugeisha, or women warriors, were just as, if not more fierce than the samurai they fought alongside or against.
Dun, dun, dun.
The scene has been set. Tension is built. Let's get into it. So, the first onna-bugeisha I'm going to be covering is Empress Jinju.
Ooh, Empress.
Yes. No, she fucking rocked it.
If she existed.
I think she did exist.
I know, I just had
But
to ask.
her actions are legendary. Mentions of the onna-bugeisha can be traced all the way back to 200 AD. Legend says that following the death of her husband, Emperor Chuai, the pregnant Empress Jinju took the throne, dressed as a man, and led a successful invasion of modern-day Korea, where she ruled.
It makes me think that people were just like, man, that's a really fat dude. And then eventually she had the kid and they were like, wow, that dude lost all of the weight.
Wow, man, you're fighting pretty fast for having a beer belly that big. Here's the thing. A pregnant woman, like, going to the store is a fucking act of heroism.
I know. Ruling a country and fighting a war, that's... And so you're saying she actually fought, too?
So she led the invasion of modern-day Korea. So,
Back then, like, those people got on their horses and, like, actually took their army to war. It wasn't, oh, go fight this war for me. It was like, no, we're fighting this war. We are fighting this war.
Well, and it used to be that, you know, there was no faith of your soldiers if you weren't out there with them.
Exactly.
If you didn't believe enough in the mission to be out there with them.
It's why would I sacrifice my life if you're not willing to sacrifice your life?
Right. So, legend says she ruled in modern-day Korea for 70 years until she was 100 years old and still pregnant. No. I'm kidding. Oh, God, I mean, it's a legend. I can probably say whatever the fuck I want. While this is only a legend, women did learn to use weapons such as naginata, which was like a pole arm with a curved blade at the tip.
Yep.
Kaiken, or a dagger, and fight using the art of tantojutsu, the traditional Japanese knife fighting.
That's cool.
This was important so women could help protect their communities, especially if there was a lack of male warriors.
Yeah, if all the men went off to war, the women could actually protect the villages.
Exactly. So it's like, hey, we all gotta...
Yeah.
Shit goes down, we all gotta be ready to fight.
Exactly.
All right? Ride or die. Onna-bugeisha were part of a noble class of feudal Japanese warriors who, in some cases, even served as stewards of newly conquered lands. They typically fought defensively, protecting their people and their land.
Okay.
So it's
they
like...
weren't super offensive like the samurai sometimes were, or the ninjas.
Right. They're not necessarily, like, going off to war, but
I mean, that
like,
doesn't make them any less badass.
They're like, hey, if you step to me, I'm gonna stab you with my knife and my naginata, all right?
Fuck you.
All right. Empress Jinju's legacy. Though Jinju's legendary invasion of Korea can't be verified, she was honored as the first woman featured on a Japanese banknote.
That's awesome.
Yes, it was only the 1 yen banknote, but I like to think that's because she was number one.
So if anyone has one of those, send us a picture. I want to see this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I could Google it, but...
We'll put a picture on the blog, but
if I can find one.
Dude, just email us pictures of your Japanese banknotes.
Just like we want to see your feminist stamp collections.
Oh my God, seriously, we haven't gotten a feminist stamp collection yet. And I'm like, do I need to start my own?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, does this need to be like our side thing? Feminist stamp collection?
This is our side hustle. All right. The next onna-bugeisha I'm going to cover is Tomoe Gozen, who lived from 1157 to 1247.
Almost 100 years.
Fuck, you're right. I mean, again.
90 years. I can math.
Right. So another legendary onna-bugeisha, Tomoe Gozen, was immortalized in The Tale of Heike, an epic that commemorated the stories of samurai during the Genpei War. I'm trying.
Hey, I think you're doing really well.
This was a war between two very powerful clans. There was a lot of information about this, but I didn't get too deep into it because this already got a little long. So that's all you need to know. In the epic, Tomoe was the wife of General Minamoto no Yoshinaka, who fought during the Battle of Awazu on February 21st, 1184. 870 years apart from my birthday.
She's real excited about that.
I'm really excited.
She's like dancing over there.
This is like the third story that has had my birthday in it, and I'm not doing this on purpose. I swear to Christ, I'm
She's
not.
lying, guys.
I just Google women with February 21st, and then I get a whole list of women.
Yeah, that's the list you're working off of.
Yep.
You say it's from your mom, but really it's just based off your birthday.
This one actually isn't from my mom. This one I picked on my own because I saw an article about the onna-bugeisha that was very helpful. And I will put that on our Facebook page because it was really cool. This one was me, though. Not my mom this time.
Mm-hmm.
In the epic, Tomoe is described as beautiful, typical, but also as, quote, a remarkably strong archer. And as a swordsman, she was a warrior worth 1,000, ready to confront a demon or a god, mounted or on foot. She handled unbroken horses with superb skill. She rode unscathed down perilous descents. Whenever a battle was imminent, Yoshinaka sent her out as his first captain, equipped with strong armor, an oversized sword, and a mighty bow. And she performed more deeds of valor than any of his other warriors.
Ooh.
So she is like...
I like that he's like, I trust you, wife. Go fuck shit up.
Yeah. No, for sure. During the battle, Tomoe took the head of at least one enemy and killed a famous samurai who's literally known for being killed by her.
No, nice.
Oh, look at this famous samurai who was killed by Tomoe.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
I didn't include his name because I didn't care. Unfortunately, their army was overpowered, and Yoshinaka told Tomoe to flee because he would have been ashamed to die with a woman. The guy...
Wow. I was like so proud of her husband for being like, you know, like obviously he was very proud of her and was like, go fuck shit up. You're really good at this. But then to be like, hey, I can't die with you. You should leave.
I mean, she apparently lived for many years after this, at least.
So that's when you just stab him yourself and go, fine.
You don't put away your underwear, and now you won't let me die with you. What the fuck? My mother was right. I should have married the other general.
Yeah, right.
God damn it. I also found a 3-minute YouTube clip from a show called Ancient Assassins that depicts her defeating a samurai during the battle and shaming the hell out of him and his clan for being a woman.
Nice.
Because with the samurai, it was all about honor and like death was a way of life.
And I mean, that's probably like I'm sure it was somewhere in like their samurai code, and I'm sure her husband was a samurai, and that's probably why he was like, no, I can't die with you here because that's shameful.
Right. So
because I'm sure it was like, I need to protect. I'm sure maybe it wasn't so much as you're a woman or maybe it was because they were huge into chivalry, weren't they? So maybe it was like, I'm supposed to protect you. So you dying here with me is shame because I didn't protect you.
But I'm totally going to send you out to fight for me.
Yeah.
I recognize your skill, but when shit gets real, you just go away. I'm going to die here. You just keep living.
Go die elsewhere.
Go die elsewhere. But I'll add this YouTube clip, but it was really interesting because it depicted basically that these battles started with two samurai who they show off their skills. They say, here's who I am. Here's the clan I'm from. Here are all the people I've killed. Here's the head, like the literal head of the last dude I killed.
Yep.
Let's fight. And she kills this dude. And as he's dying, she's like, by the way, I'm a chick. And he's like, no, my honor. So
there's actually a group of women that I'm planning on covering possibly in the next episode that they were fighters. And the way they, not to give it away, but the way they killed people, like, because people didn't know they were women, is they'd kill someone and then they'd show them their boobs as they were dying to be like, oh, bitch, you just got killed by a woman.
You know what? I love that because the fact that would bother someone is bullshit. And so just rubbing it in their face like, your misogynistic ideals of strength are bullshit and I just killed you.
Yeah.
Meh.
So that'll be a fun one to cover.
That's amazing.
It's another like group of women like yours.
Another interesting thing about Tomoe is that she was known as an onna-bugeisha, as she engaged in offensive battle rather than the traditional defensive fighting that was common for onna-bugeisha.
So is she considered both or mainly the other one?
I think overall she was an onna-bugeisha, but she went out.
Okay. It was like
it was just like a different classification for a female warrior. So it's like instead of people coming to her and trying to invade her shit, she was
defensive.
like, I'm coming to you, bitch.
Yeah.
Coming to you. Tomoe's legacy. Though it's not confirmed whether Tomoe was a real person or a legend, accounts of her ferocity in battle significantly impacted the warrior class, and she has been remembered through art, plays, and even into modern pop culture. Anyone who is a fan of the Persona 4 video game will recognize Tomoe as the inspiration for one of the character's personas. There were some other modern references, but I was like, oh, this is like anime and video games. I'm going to include this one, even though I've never played them.
I haven't either, but I know that I've heard they're very good.
Yep. All right. We are on to onna-bugeisha number 3, and the one that I can confirm fucking existed. All right. Nakano Takeko, who lived from April 1847 to October 16th, 1868. Now, we're going to sashay a ways in history to the late Edo period, which lasted from 1603 to 1868. In 1847, Nakano Takeko was born in Edo, which is modern-day Tokyo, which was the center of power and prosperity at the time. Nakano was trained in martial arts and literature from an early age. She was especially intelligent and was able to read perfectly the Hyakunin Isshu, a classical anthology of 100 poems from 100 poets.
Wow.
So 100 poets submitted a poem each, and she was able to, the notes I used said recall. So I was like, okay, did she memorize it or could she read it?
Maybe she had like a photographic memory.
Maybe. But anyway, she was able to basically read, understand, recite this perfectly when she was 5 or 6 years old.
Wow.
When I was like, why should I have to tie my shoes?
No, Mom, no.
But when I asked for someone to tie my shoes, they tie my shoes. Why would I do it myself?
Right. We were in the sassy phase.
Oh, yeah. No, it's like, what do you mean I have to be an empowered, independent woman when I can just make people around me do what I want?
Right.
Her father, Nakano Heinai, was an Aizu government official. Aizu was the westernmost of the 3 regions that make up the current-day Fukushima prefecture in Japan. At the time, Aizu was a feudal domain and known for its military skill. At any given time, Aizu had a standing army of over 5,000, which were routinely deployed for security operations.
Wow.
So they're just like, we're packed, we're stacked, we're getting it done.
Yeah, that was their military province, basically.
Exactly. Nakano trained as a martial artist with her father until 1868 when she finally entered Aizu for the first time. So I couldn't find more information on this, but what I'm understanding is that he was a government official in Aizu. She was born in modern-day Tokyo and trained.
He must have traveled there or something.
Yeah, so she didn't actually come to Aizu until 1868.
Okay.
Now, There was a lot of political information that I tried to get into, but it became too cluttered, and this story was already running long, so I'm going to severely summarize this next part.
Do it.
So long story short, the ruler of Aizu, Matsudaira Katamori, swung his military might around a bit too far and pissed off the imperial government, who categorized Katamori, the ruler, and Aizu as enemies of the court. Though Katamori tried to show his and his domain's submission to the imperial court, tensions between the ruling shogunate, or feudal military government, and the imperial court erupted into the Boshin War, also known as the Japanese Revolution. When this happened, Katamori joined to fight against the imperial court in 1868, so the same year Nakano entered Aizu. So to summarize, the new imperial government was taking power away from the currently ruling shogunate, who were like a military dictator deal. Though Aizu originally fought as part of a greater effort against the imperial court, they were eventually abandoned but continued to fight alone.
I mean, they were the military area, so.
I mean, yeah.
If anyone had a chance.
If anyone has a chance to fight alone, it's these guys. So this brings us to the Battle of Aizu. In October of 1868, the seat of Aizu's power, Suruga Castle, or present-day Wakamatsu Castle, was attacked by 30,000 imperial troops, beginning a month-long siege that would become known as the Battle of Aizu. Aizu had about 3,000 warriors to defend themselves with.
Where the fuck were the rest of them? What happened to their 5,000 standing army?
I mean, they had been
they were probably
fighting.
out fighting other battles.
Well, and they had been fighting up until this point, and I'm like, I could totally believe that 2,000 of your dudes died fighting.
That's true.
Though many women served behind the scenes during the battle by bandaging injured soldiers, cooking, and extinguishing cannonballs, which were raining down upon them daily, Nakano fought, wielding a naginata. She also led a ragtag corps of 20 to 30 female combatants, later called the Joshigun, or Women's Army. They fought independently during the battle. They did not fight as part of the larger army because the senior military leaders would not allow them to be an official part of the army. So basically, the primary male warriors are fighting this battle. They're defending their territory. Yep. And Nakano's like, we're going to do our shit too. So
right, like we're going to help.
Round up, ladies. We're getting shit done. And during the battle, it is said that Nakano killed 172 samurai.
Nice.
She is getting shit done with that naginata. While leading the charge against the enemy army, Nakano was fatally shot.
Oh, wait. I suppose. Yeah. I was like, wait, shot?
Yeah, they had guns.
They had guns. Yeah, that's probably why they won.
To prevent the enemy from capturing her head as a trophy, Nakano asked her sister to cut it off and bury it in the Hokai temple under a pine tree.
I've actually read at least this part of the story about this woman.
Oh, really?
Because, I'm like, wait, the whole sister thing, that sounds super familiar.
I mean, it's probably bled into pop culture and stuff.
No, like, it was, I think when I was looking for who I wanted to do, this woman may have come up.
I love that.
Anyways, continue.
Anyway. So, I mean, that's it. She died during the battle. She fought very valiantly. Unfortunately for them, Aizu lost and was conquered, and the imperial court took over everything.
But her sister did take her head.
Her sister did take her head and bury it under the pine tree. Yeah. So, Nakano's legacy. A monument and a statue of Nakano were later erected at the Hokai Temple, which we should definitely add to our feminist trip list.
Okay.
I've got a running list. So there's Sybil Luddington's.
I didn't know we had a list.
Oh.
I'm excited now.
We have a list. We have Sybil Luddington's statue and the trail.
We're not going to do the race, but we'll walk it.
Yes, we'll take a gentle stroll through the leaves.
Maybe we'll do horseback.
Oh my God.
Like she did.
God, I'd be so sore after that.
I know.
That would wreck me.
I mean, we wouldn't do it in one night. Just take it easy.
We're going to take a week to ride horses on this one trail because we don't want to wreck our bodies.
Yeah, exactly.
We are weak and broken. So we've got that. I mean, we've got some grave sites that we can actually identify.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
And now we have this.
Yeah.
So yeah. Also, during the annual Aizu Autumn Festival, girls dressed as warriors march in a procession to commemorate Nakano and the women's army she led.
That's awesome.
Which is just beautiful.
I like that they're keeping that legacy alive.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think she's a big deal in Aizu. Maybe not necessarily outside.
Yeah. But I mean, you see so much that, like, some of these women get covered up. Even by their own cultures.
Exactly.
You know, so to see a culture really celebrating the woman is great.
Well, and it's cool because they wear, like, are you familiar with, I'm going to refer to anime. Are you familiar with Inuyasha?
Yes.
So the outfits that Kikyo, like the priestess, wears.
Yeah.
So it's like the white kimono on top and then I think it's the hakama.
Yeah.
Like the
I know what you're
flared
talking about.
pants. So they wear that and like headbands, special
Honestly,
headbands,
it looks like it'd
and
be
march.
super comfortable.
I mean, man, I would be killing a lot of people in that outfit.
Right?
There's so much range of motion.
I wonder if they had pockets.
Oh my god, they fucking better have. Where are you gonna put all your knives?
Throwing knives.
Just all right. So I have a section called takeaway.
Of course.
Yes. I try to label things.
I need to, like, step my shit up over here.
I try to label things because I've realized that if I don't actually put it in my notes and I'm just like, oh, I'll remember to say that.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking don't. So the takeaway. While throughout much of Japanese history, women were expected to be obedient and commit to a life of domesticity, the onna-bugeisha stood out as fierce warriors who fought for their communities. And while committing your life to domesticity is a valid choice, when it's not a choice, it's a problem.
You're not just your entrails and your boobs.
You're not just your entrails and your boobs. You are so much more to that. And if you
that
need
might
to hear
be my
that today,
favorite quote.
if you need to hear that today, here it is. You're more than your entrails and boobs.
Yes, you are.
And we love you.
And welcome.
Entrails, boobs, and everything in between.
I double checked femi, like I looked it up, because of course it's spelled the same as like femme fatale, and I'm pretty sure it is pronounced femme, but we're just saying the E because it sounds better.
We're taking over language.
And while there is kind of a more modern version of it, well, it's the same word, in the LGBTQ community.
Yep.
QR. What's the last letter?
LGBTQIA is as far as I usually
I'm
get.
sorry. I apologize. I'm not trying to be offensive. I just legitimately don't remember.
Well, and everyone says it a little bit differently.
Yep.
But again, LGBTQIA is usually as far as I get in the acronym.
I think that's probably
But
good.
it's representative of a wide range of sexual orientations
Yes.
and gender identities.
And
we love you all.
but when we say femi, we just mean the original term, which means female. We're just saying welcome to our female family. I'm trying to say we're not excluding anyone. Men can be part of our femi family as well.
Yeah, we're just trying to celebrate the incredible women that have been erased or forgotten by history. And I'm actually really glad you brought this up because I've been hesitant to use femi family in our like social media and stuff because I'm like, well, I understand to be femme doesn't necessarily mean your sex or your gender.
Exactly.
It could be the way you present.
It just means in femme in French. I literally just looked this up and I can't remember what language it is. It's like French or German or, one of the major languages. But yeah, it literally means woman. So we're not trying to use it like in any other context than woman.
Welcome to our family that is celebrating female excellence.
Yes, there you go.
We love you.
We'll come up with our own word later. We'll let you know.
Female, when we say female, we mean woman. And so if you identify as a woman, you are a part of our family and we love you.
Even if you identify as a man.
If you're
welcome.
a dude, you are a part of our family and we love you unless you're a misogynistic piece of shit, in which case, change yourself or fuck off.
You're excluded from the family.
We're actually very open and accepting unless you're a piece of shit. And then in which case we're like, well, I mean, no. We're not all about that.
Take like 10 steps back and just
fix yourself.
Stay over there.
Fix yourself. So that's all I have about the onna-bugeisha. And like I said, there was a lot of information. There was a lot of stuff I left out. It was kind of difficult to cover this topic. But definitely look more into these women because all three of them were fucking certified, whining about herstory stamp of approval, badasses, whether they were real or not.
Heck yeah. They're real now. They have our stamp of realness, just like Sybil Ludington does.
Because we are in control of that.
Yeah, we are.
We
This
are
is our
rewriting
podcast.
herstory, motherfuckers.
Fuck yeah.
Woo! Anyway.
It's the wine version of her story.
Yes. Yeah, we take our whining very seriously.
Yes, we do.
So.
No, don't say it. I know what's coming.
We have our thankfulness corner, where each of us say something that we're thankful about. This is particularly helpful on downer episodes. I think we're ending on kind of an upswing.
I think this is a really good episode.
No,
woo!
We were both very chipper and empowered, but I do have something that I'm very thankful for, so I will start off, and then Kelley can
I don't like when you start, because you're
stress
always
sweat.
like, yeah, I'll just stress sweat over here.
So what I'm really thankful for this week, two things. One, that I got through the week. It was another tough week, but I'm starting to feel a little stronger, a little better, battered but not beaten. And then also our local blood bank. I know that's kind of a weird thing, but the blood bank has been calling me for 3 years, trying to get me to come in. And my anxiety doesn't allow me to make phone calls and appointments.
Same.
So I usually get the voicemail. And I'm just like, oh, I'll call back later. And I never fucking do. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. But they finally got a hold of me in person. And I was like, okay, yes, let's do this. I'm going to make an appointment. I made it. I went in. The nurse who took my blood was actually someone I knew in high school.
Oh,
so we were
funny.
like swapping stories. I'm like, oh, how are you doing? And she's like fucking fabulous. Mary
Right.
has a couple of beautiful children. And I was like, oh my God.
I just gave blood a few weeks ago.
You're amazing.
And they were like, you should give plasma, because then you can give every 8 days, and then you can get a sweatshirt faster.
Oh, yeah. Well, and something else they were telling me about was platelets. So platelets are the...
Maybe it was platelets, not plasma. Yeah.
It could have been. I don't know anything.
I don't think the blood bank I go to does plasma.
I just let them stick the needle in me, and then I just sit there.
Platelets takes 2 hours
Yes.
instead of 1.
Yeah.
So it is platelets.
But basically, platelets are what make your blood clot.
Yep.
And they use them for severe trauma cases,
That's
people
why
with
you can
hemophilia.
do it every 8 days instead of every 12 weeks.
Right. And so, if you've been putting off going to your local blood bank and donating blood or platelets or plasma or wherever the fuck you're comfortable with donating, go in. Don't wait for something bad to happen. Make sure they have that on hand.
A lot of times, most blood banks, at least in our area, take walk-ins. So even if you don't want to make that phone call, just go in.
Yeah,
they're pretty efficient. They'll get you in a timely manner.
They want your blood. They want you guys.
They're like vampires, except hopefully they're not drinking it.
That's
why there's constantly a shortage of blood.
But yeah, I'm thankful that they're doing what they're doing. They're putting in the time, the effort. They are really helping people, and I'm glad I finally fucking went in. And I'm hoping now I know when their late night appointments are, so I'm hoping to make it more of a regular thing.
Yeah, my work gives me they give me an hour for regular blood. I think it's 2 for double and 2 for platelets.
So do you get paid for that time?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I work at a hospital. So
this is true. So
they're like, go donate your blood.
So Kelley works at the hospital where I'm donating blood. Yeah. But because I don't work at that hospital, I don't get paid. So I'm going in at 5:30 or 6 at night.
if we're over that time, then then we're not paid. So usually I take that and my lunch, and I just kind of combine it in case there's a long wait line, or I just want to sit and enjoy my cookie afterwards.
Oh my God, those cookies are as big as your face.
They're so good too.
So the nurse, she led me back out to the waiting area, and they've got a whole cooler of soda, they've got chips and cookies and water, fucking everything. And she's like, help yourself. And I'm like, don't tempt me, because I will
put that whole basket of cookies into my purse.
It took so much self-control. I ate a bag of chips because I really hadn't eaten a lot that day. And I was like, I've still got to walk back to my car. And it was
I
a
always
few
take
blocks.
a chocolate chip cookie.
And I took a snickerdoodle with me.
Nice.
And I was like, there was a can of Pepsi staring me in the face. And I was like, Emily, don't be a fucking glutton.
When I did it, I think I just took a bottle of water because I felt slightly dehydrated. So I was like, no, I'm gonna make the health conscious choice, and I'm just gonna take a bottle of water.
I applaud your restraint. Although I do still have that snickerdoodle in my purse.
Ooh.
I'm saving it for a special occasion, which might be right after this podcast when I get home tonight.
I was gonna say after this podcast is popcorn.
Yes. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Veronica Mars and popcorn.
We have weird pastimes.
Hey. Anyone who's not on board with Veronica Mars and popcorn is not a friend of mine.
She doesn't mean it.
I might judge you. You'll have to win my favor instead of automatically getting it.
Yeah, exactly.
So Kelley, what are you thankful for this week?
I was just hoping you'd forget about me here in my corner. I'm going to say I'm really thankful for my new laptop, which is not new at all. My husband just gave me his old laptop because they needed mine for some project they're doing, and his laptop couldn't do it. It wasn't the right hardware. So he's like, can we just take yours after they'd already started it? So I'm like, yeah, but like,
hey, we're
way to
halfway
actually
through.
like ask before you did it.
We're halfway through like taking over your laptop. Is this
right.
okay?
And it was fine. I had actually just recently like completely wiped it because it's real old and it was running real slow. So I took everything off of it and just completely redid it.
He's starting a competing history podcast where he just talks about strong, empowered men that we've all heard of.
Yeah. And it would all be like computer-based men. So it'd be like Stephen Hawking and Steve Jobs.
Episode 1 is just George Washington.
Yeah.
Hey, have you guys ever heard of George Washington? Listen about this guy. He had this thing with some cherry trees. It's cray.
Oh, gotcha. He would never say cray.
I would pay to hear him say
cray. He might
cray.
actually kick us out of the house now. That was another one of our weird house rules. Like there was like 3 or 4 words you weren't allowed to say or you had to leave. Not that we ever actually kicked anyone out.
I think it was cray, totes. If you didn't say magoats after.
Yeah, if you say totes magoats, it's fine.
Or cray cray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not cray people.
I mean
we are, but we just don't like the words. But yeah, so I'm thankful for that because it's nice to like, because then I can like sit upstairs and work on stuff versus having to be down here, which is fine. But sometimes I'm like, I just want to like be in my solitude, and he's always down here on his computer. So
well, that's like I finish up my notes at the local library because it's hard to focus at home because there's a billion other, like there's my bed that I'd love to be curled up in. There's the couch that I'd love to be sleeping on. There's the TV I'd love to like not watch while I'm dinking around on my phone. So being at the library is really nice. I could just sit down and focus on my notes.
Right. And my other thankful thing is going to be my grandma because she like checked in on me this week because it was supposed to snow. I mean, it's supposed to snow where they are too, but it was really sweet. Like, she just texted me and was like, I had to bring all my plants inside. Here's my indoor garden. And she like sent me a picture, which I had to teach her to do a while ago, but it was cute. And then she was like, oh, I hope you get, hope you endure the snow. And then like the day after it snowed, she texted me again and was like, oh, I hope you're doing fine. And it was just really sweet.
I love your grandma. She's always been very sweet.
So that was nice. It brightened my week. So
that's awesome.
Thanks, Grandma, even though you're never going to listen to this podcast. But still.
Shout out to all the grandmas. I have a new grandma.
Yeah.
So.
Abuela.
I have a new abuela. All right.
So yeah, that's my thankful. I'm going to have to like start prepping these in advance.
Yes.
Like as I go through my week, like when I have like this was awesome moment, I'm just going to start writing it down.
Please do. I mean, that's actually a really good thing. That's like a therapy technique I did for a while where I would write down 10 things that made me happy during a day.
I know.
Coming up with 10 things can be really hard,
having
though.
like a thankfulness journal is like a thing, but I'm always like, I never know what to put because I always feel like I'm just going to put the same thing, and that's what I worry about on this podcast because I'm like, it's always going to be like my husband, my dogs, like Emily. Like eventually I'm going to have to start like repeating myself, and I feel weird doing that, so I have to start coming up with other things.
I actually had my boyfriend listen to one of my thankfulness shout outs for him, and he just was like, oh, like all happy.
That's
and
cute.
It was very sweet. So anyway, please email us at whiningaboutherstory@gmail.com. Tell us about the women you want us to cover. Tell us about the incredible women in your life that are probably not going to get their own wiki page.
Yeah, because I mean, we'll definitely, if we get like a few, like viewer women, like if you guys are okay with it, we'll do a viewer episode of just modern day women that are kicking ass. Like, they don't need to be the first woman who did something, but if you think they're badass, let us know. We can give them a regular shout out. We can tell their story. Just,
we might have to do a special Mother's Day episode for me and Kelly's moms because I would love to give my mom a big shout out on this show, and I'm sure you would too.
I love my mama.
Love our mamas.
Drink
you me wine.
I already gave you the wine. But check out our blog. We post weekly like synopses of our episodes. And there'll be profiles of women coming soon. There's one up there now, but I'm getting more coming.
And then hit us up on Facebook at Whining About Herstory, Instagram at WAHpod, and just reach out to us. We love you guys.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and tell us if you have a woman who should be, or a person who should be featured on our Say Their Name segment.
Yeah, that's another way to get a good shout out.
Yeah. Empowered women, empowered women.
Hell yeah, they do.
So thank you so much for listening. This has been Whining About Herstory. I'm Emily.
I'm Kelley.
And have an empowered day.
Bye.
Bye.